Good morning, Patriots. Happy Sunday to all of you. Good morning, American. This video is pretty much for Generation Z and the upcoming Generation Alpha. Right now, you're in either in high school or your last year junior high, according to the graph of what an alpha is. And this is for you to look at something now to help you decide in your future what's best for you. It's also for any generation really, but for the Generation Y people who have kids, or Generation X like me, we have a kid. Also for you. And you saw the title. My 11 to 13-year-old gets it, why don't you? Now, the thing about technology is, it's awesome when it works. But the problem with technology is it also kind of makes us lazy. I'll give you an example. In cars. When you learned how to drive when we were young, about 50% of the cars were rear-wheel drive, and about 50% of the cars were also front-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive when I was young was very rare compared to now. Very rare. So when it came to driving in like snowy-like or icy-like conditions, that's where you really learned how to drive. Especially if you can keep snow tires on your vehicle. And listen, let's face it, most people don't. They're expensive. They're on the loud side on dry ground. And they're bad for gas mileage. Now, if you had a rear-wheel drive car, like my dad's old 79 Impala or 84 Precision Brougham, a rear-wheel drive car, it was even more challenging in the snow. They came along all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. And you know what I see from a lot of people who drive these things? They think they're invincible, and they get into more accidents than people who drive the front and rear-wheel drive cars. Granted, rear-wheel drive cars are very rare now. But still, you always see these SUVs down the road in the ditch get an accident in these snowy conditions because they think they're invincible. Same thing with learning stick shift. People don't know how to drive as well because they don't really know how to work the car with an automatic transmission because they never learned how to drive stick shift. Well, there's something to be said about using cash as opposed to using a debit card or a credit card. I'm looking for something here. Now, listen, for anyone who grew up in my generation or the Y before the internet banking thing took over, you had to do this thing called use cash. Everything now is pretty much debit, credit cards. There is some people still use cash. I still have it. I still use it. And for all you people there that think that we have a lot easier than Generation Z people do, or the Y, it's crap because your $20 is worth the same as my $20. You have the same purchasing power as I do. Whether you like it or not, or whether you want to believe it or not, math does not change. The laws of economics do not change for anyone. Get that through your head. Now, the problem with using a debit card, like I've always been saying, you have a card and, hey, tap, tap, tap. Or credit card, even worse. Tap, 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 run out the bill. Oh, I'll just pay for it later. And then next thing you know, you're paying interest, which is pretty much another tax on yourself, on stuff that you already use, had no more use for, gone, like groceries and gas, and you put more on it. When you take this out of your wallet, whether it's a 20 or a 50 or 100, and you get back a lot less, it leaves an impression on you like, ugh, man, more than any debit card or credit card will. Send you into the banking. I mean, you could swipe that debit card and you can check your account from the day, see how much is being deducted, but there's something about using an old-fashioned checkbook with a pen and doing daily deductions that way, using your brain as a calculator or using a calculator. There's something about watching you writing it in, you watching your bank account go lower and lower than seeing it online. Now, for the people who grew up in Generation X, and for the most part Generation Y, would understand this. Baby boomers definitely understand this. It hurts more when you use cash. Even though you may spend the same as using a debit card, there's something about this where it makes you more conscious about how you spend. Same with writing and balancing a checkbook. And I noticed the problem with the Z people and the Alpha people is, especially I noticed it with my daughter, because of the whole debit card thing and the use of these smartphones. You hit a couple buttons, you hit order, and that's it. And the problem with my daughter was she was seeing that, you just press buttons and you get stuff. And it leaves the wrong impression on a young kid. And my wife, who is, listen, I'm cheap. My wife is worse than me. She's cheap. She knows the value of a dollar. I know the value of a dollar. She's more tight on things than I am, to a point. And there's other things I'm more tight on. We both have indulgences, that's fine. But my little one just say, I could just press these buttons and get stuff. She never learned how it works. So one day, a couple years ago when she was 11, I took a food shop with me to a local shopping area. It was A&P. No, wasn't it? No, A&P, ShopRite. And I took a shop with me, and of course, because I am cheap, I still return these things for my nickels, and I have quite a few of them. I usually go back. Let's see. It's not a bad offer. It ain't great either. Did that for someone else. So we get a supermarket. I let her handle the bottle returns, put in the machine. Plastic goes to the plastic machine. She handles the cans. She hits the 2 buttons. You get 2 receipts, and she's excited. Hey, Dad, look at this. We got $2.50 here, another 75 cents here. We got $3.25. And she's all bright-eyed. Like, yeah, what do you think about this? What are we going to do with it? Well, we're going to use to pay a little bit of our groceries. And she's like, a little bit? Oh, yeah. Okay. So we go food shopping. And we get to the self-checkout area. And I let her scan the items. And truth be told, we didn't have much. It was only going back 2 years ago. It was 2022, yeah. 2 years into the Biden administration. And we get done, and then she looks at the price. And she looks at me with a stunned look and watery eyes. And she's like, Dad, this is impossible. There's no way this could cost this much. Like, yeah, it does. But hey, we got these coupons. Watch this. So the lady comes over, takes out $3.25 off. And she's still looking at me and says, Dad, this is too much. And I'm like, yeah. Because she remembered just a couple years prior when we used to get a whole full load of groceries for $130. Now we're going down to almost nothing. And she's like, but we didn't buy much. I'm like, yeah, I know. He's like, do you understand now why Daddy works all that overtime when he got the chance? This is it right here. Things are expensive. And she's like, looking at me and says, this is why Daddy, Daddy wastes his time working so much. This is why. Things are expensive. So the next time you think, I'm just going to work because I enjoy it, remember this incident right here. The next time you bother your mother because you want stuff online, and you think all you got to do is press a couple buttons, this is how this really works. And to her credit, it stuck with her. Still has. 2 years later. I remember going a couple months later. She needed clothes. She was going through a growth spurt. And we went to Walmart. Not fancy. We didn't get anything spectacular. It was just basics, you know. And we get to the register. She's scanning everything, and she's looking at me with tears. It's like, Dad, this is too much. Mommy's going to yell at us. Tiny, you may think it's too much, but look at what we got. We didn't get anything spectacular. We got basic stuff that you need. You need this stuff. This is okay. But Mommy's going to yell at us. Mommy's not going to yell at us. She knows you're growing. She knows you need stuff. There's nothing to worry about. But Dad, this is too much. I was like, all right, Tiny, look. Is there something here that you don't really need that you want to really give back? She's like, yeah, this skirt here, the denim skirt. So we took it off the register. It's like, okay, do you feel a little bit better now? You feel it's still too much, but you feel a little bit better. I'm like, okay. All right, but that impression from the supermarket carried over to Walmart. And I figured she would forget, you know, but it stuck with her. Now, I can't guarantee this is going to work for every kid. Every kid's different, but I can only go and tell you what my experience is. And I can tell you right now, as we go to CVS sometimes with stuff, you know, she's like, I need this, can I get this, can I get this? And yeah, sure, go ahead. And then I'll let her ring up at register again, self-checkout. And she's like, oh my God, Dad, this is like $25. I don't think this is worth $25. Look how small this is. Okay, do you really need it? I do, but I don't want to spend, I don't want to spend this much money for this. This is a ripoff. All right, so do you want to give it back? And he's like, yeah, I don't want to pay for this. Okay, and she's done that quite a few times now. She's only 13 years old. But she's getting the value of what this is. And I can tell you, the only mistake I made back when I went to ShopRite the first time, when she learned the lesson of how expensive things are and inflation and why I work so much, is the only thing I wish I would have done differently, I didn't know this was going to happen, is I wish I would have used this and have her put the money in the machine instead of using a debit card. Because I can tell you right now, it would have left a bigger impression on her than it already has. But the point is, she's getting it. And pretty soon she'll be eligible to get working papers, and she wants to get a job. She wants to pay for her own stuff, which is good. Tiny is good, because the earlier you start, the better off you are. It's like you need to learn how to work with people, take orders, follow through with people, how to get along with people, even if you don't like them. It's very important. Don't let customers get under your skin. All those is important, all that. But you'll learn how the tax system works. You know how income works and how to save. So I'm all for it. She wants to do it. So I'm like, I like this girl after my own heart. Because my wife was a hustler. I'm a hustler. And that lesson in ShopRite, amazing. It carried over. I mean, it did carry over for me as a kid, but when we were a kid, this is what we used. My parents used. I mean, like I said, if you used a charge card, it was a process. You had to put it in the machine. You had to put over carbon paper. You had to ring it through the machine and sign here, receipt this. It's not. It wasn't hard back then, but it was just more annoying. Cash was still easier. Now, because you all you got to do is just do this in the machine. Boom. It's easy. Or hit the screen on your smartphone. It's easier now. But if my 11 or 13-year-old can do it at the age of 13, and she's on that borderline of being either a Z or an alpha, she's really right there. For the people who are older than her right now in high school, you got no excuse. For the people who are in Generation Z, you have no excuse. Math, I'm not trying to be hard on you. I want better for you. I want you guys to do better than us. Because for the sake of the United States, we're dependent on you. We need you. You need us. We need you. We both need the baby boomers. Whether you like it or not, whether you're in denial or not. My purchasing power is the same as yours. Now, if your kid's a spoiled brat, well, you got to figure out how to get that out of him. And the best way to do it is really for having to work. Have him work. As early as 14, I don't care what they get. I don't care if it's a few hours a week in the summertime. Let them get their feet wet. Teach them. This whole tapping thing is not a magic wand. It may look like a magic wand, but it isn't. I'm using this the same way I use my debit card. And show them how it works. Anyway, Gen Z, Alpha, Y, God bless you all. You all keep the country in prayer. Keep the faith. I know you think things are bad now. But like the Great Depression, like the 70s, like 9/11, like 2008 housing bubble, things will turn around. But remember what they told you 3.5 years ago when you voted. Remember that when you go to the booth in November. That's all I'm going to say. If you put the same guy back in office, I don't feel bad for you. Anyway, God bless you all. We'll talk to you later.